Good morning. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Would you take a few minutes and do these problems? Pause it so that you can do them, and then when you're done, you can resume play so that you can watch and see what the answers are. Or, even better yet, let's get 4 volunteers to do these. Okay, so this one, when x is 4, we plug the 4 in for x. So we take 5 times 4 minus 2. 20 minus 2, 18. When x is 5, it's 3 times 5 squared plus 4 times 5 minus 1. 25 times 3 is 75. Make sure you're following your order of operations. You're squaring the 5, then multiplying by 3. 4 times 5 is 20, and minus 1. 75 plus 20 is 95, minus 1, 94. 2x plus 4 times the square root of x when x is 16. Take the 16, put it in place of the x. So 2 times 16 plus 4 times the square root of 16. 2 times 16 is 32. Square root of 16 is 4, so that's 4 times 4. Gives me 32 plus 16, which equals 48. 2 minus t squared when t is negative 10 says 2 minus a negative 10 squared. Do within the parentheses first. So negative 10 squared is 100. So 2 minus 100 is negative 98. Then we need the domain and range. Remember, the domain is your x values and the range is your y values. So if I list my domain here, domain is 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2, negative 3, 3. That is my domain. My range is 1, 4, and 9. We don't need to list those twice, even though they're here twice. In the range, we just list them one time. If we were to do a mapping, we would see 1 goes to 1, negative 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 4, negative 2 goes to 4, negative 3 goes to 9, and 3 goes to 9. Is this a function? Yes, because each x goes to 1 and only one y. All right. Okay, take a look at the answers from Friday. See if you've got the correct answers. If there are any questions, let's see who can answer them. All right, so today we're going to talk about function notation. F of x equals 5x plus 3 is our function notation, is how we read that. F of x says the function of x is defined by 5 times x plus 3. This is our y value, and this is our x value. If we have this example here, f of 1, then what it says is x is 1. So any place we see an x in our function, we put a 1 in, and we work it out. So in this case, 5 times 1 plus 3 equals 8. So f of 1 is equal to 8. You need to put this in your notes. All right, so now if I have f of 2, that says do what with that 2? It says to put it in place of the x. So 5 times 2 plus 3. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. So f of 2 is 13. We simply replace the x value with the number that we're given. You try these 3, please. Pause it and try these. Okay, so 5 times 1 plus 3 is 8. We already did that one. So f of 1 is 8. It says my function value at 1 is 8. In other words, this is my x and this is my y. f of 0. 5 times 0 plus 3 is 3. And f of negative 1 says 5 times negative 1 plus 3 is negative 2. So f of negative 1 is negative 2. This would be like having the ordered pair 2, 13 and plotting it. Plotting the point 1, 8. Plotting the point 0, 3. And plotting the point negative 1, negative 2. We can also do what's called function composition. We can have more than one function involved. So this is f of 3 plus g of 2. So we find what f of 3 is, we find what g of 2 is, and we add those two values together. So try finding f of 3 and try finding g of 2. This is my f of x, so I'm going to plug 3 in here. This is my g of x, so I'm going to plug 2 in here. So f of 3 is what? Pause it, try it. So we have 3 times 3 minus 5. 3 times 3 is 9, minus 5 is 4. So f of 3 is 4. G of 2 says plug 2 wherever you see an x. So g of 2 is negative 2 times 2 squared minus 1. Square the 2, that's 4, times a negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. So g of 2 is negative 9. Now this says take f of 3 plus g of 2. But that's 4 plus a negative 9, which equals a negative 5. That's our answer. You try this bottom one, please. Okay? So g of 7 says to take a 7 and plug it in any place we see an x. So g of 7 is negative 2 times 7 squared minus 1. 7 squared is 49, times a negative 2 is negative 98. Negative 98 minus 1 is a negative 99. F of 0 says plug 0 in. 3 times 0 minus 5. That's a negative 5. So g of 7 minus f of 0 is negative 99 minus a negative 5, but minus and negative is the same thing as adding, so it's a negative 94. Now, if this 4 wasn't in front, we would simply plug the negative 2 in, so try that for a minute. Find f of negative 2. Okay, so we're going to jump down here and do that. Oops, let's come down a little bit further here. All right, so f of negative 2 says take 3 times negative 2 minus 5. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 5 is a negative 11. That's f of negative 2. But what does this say to do? It says to multiply that by 4. So 4 times f of negative 2 is 4 times negative 11. So 4 times f of negative 2 is 44. That's our answer. we can also look at a function on a graph, and we can determine what our x value is, and we can determine what our y value is. Remember, f of 1 says find my y value when x is 1. So when x is 1, my y value looks like it's about 3. So f of 1 from our graph is 3. What is f of 4? 4 is my x value, so I go over to the 4. I go up until I hit my graph. It looks like my y value there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like it's about a 9. So f of 4 is 9. What this is saying is I have the ordered pair 1, 3, and 4, 9. This is my x value, this is my y value. This is my x value, this is my y value. How is this one different? Well, it says, what is x when f of x is equal to negative 2? So I need a y value of negative 2. Well, where is y negative 2? Right there is where my y is negative 2. What is my x value? So f of x equals negative 2 when x is negative 2. Okay. You try this one, please. Pause it here and try those. Okay, so f of 0 says when x is 0, what is my y value? Well, here's when x is 0. What is my y value? My y value is 1. So f of 0 is 1. F of negative 4 says what is my y value when x is negative 4? So negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What is my x value? Excuse me, what is my y value? Looks like it's a positive 2. So f of negative 4 is 2. It says what is x when f of x is 3? Well, when f of x is 3, that is my y value. So when does my graph hit 3 for the y value? Here's y equals 3. So I come across. What is the x value? Looks like it's negative 5. So f of x equals 3 when x equals negative 5. So in other words, f of negative 5 is 3. If we're given this is our x and we're looking for our y. If we're given this is our y and we're looking for our x. Now let's do some application problems. Okay. The admission fee to a local carnival is $8 and each ride costs $1.50. It says write a function to represent the total cost to go to the carnival. So which thing changes based on our number of rides and which thing is constant? The admission fee is a constant, so it's always going to be there. This changes based on the number of rides. So we need to define what our x is. X is the number of rides. Okay. F of x says each ride, the admission fee is $8. So every time I walk in the door, I have to pay $8. And then each ride costs $1.50. If I rode 2 rides, I'd take 2 times $1.50. 3 rides, 3 times $1.50. I don't know, so I take $1.50 times the number of rides. That is my function. F of x equals 8 plus 1.5x. This says how many rides did Savannah ride if she spent $11? The $11 is my total cost. F of x represents my total cost. So 11 is equal to 8 plus 1.5x. Solve by subtracting the 8. I get 3 equals 1.5x. Divide both sides by 1.5. And I get that x equals 2 rides. What if this answer? It says, what is the total cost for Lisa if she rode 15 rides? Justify your answer. Your justification is your math. Right? So 15, again, is my x value. So I want to know my cost, f of x, equals 8 plus 1.5 times 15. Okay? So that's 8 plus 1.5 times 15 should be 22.5, or 22.50 since we're talking about money. When I add those two together, I get $30.50. Since this is money, I need to make sure I put a label on it. So her total cost is $30.50. It costs her $8 to walk into the carnival and $22.50 to ride up 15 rides. So we need to make sure that we realize this is our cost function. All right, so I want you to try this one. You are going canoeing with some friends. The shop you're renting your canoe from charges a $7 equipment fee and $2 per hour. Write a function to illustrate the total amount of money it will cost you to rent a canoe. First question says, how many hours did you canoe if the shop charged you 19? First of all, we have to write our function. So pause it, write your function, and try this problem here. Okay, which thing changes based on the number of hours we rent it for? Is it the equipment fee or the $2 per hour? Right, it's this $2 per hour that changes. So let's write so x is the number of hours. F of x is our cost, and we need our function. So f of x says I have to pay $7 regardless, and then for every hour I pay $2, so 2 times x. Okay. How many hours did you canoe if the shop charged you 19? So 19, because that's my cost, so that goes there for the f of x. How many hours? That's what I'm trying to find, so that's my unknown. So 7 plus 2x. Subtract 7 from both sides. I get 12 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 6 hours. Make sure you put a label, and you need to justify your answer with some math behind it. You can't just do this in your head. I need to see your work. All right, try this one now. You've got your f of x there. It says, how much will the shop charge you if you canoed for 3 hours? Pause it and try this one. Okay. So 3 represents my x. So f of 3 is what I'm looking at, is 7 plus 2 times that 3. So I have 7 plus 6, which is $13. Again, don't forget your label. All right, for tomorrow, I'd like you to work on this functions, relations, and function notation worksheet. Tomorrow you will review for the PC, and remember that your PC is on Thursday.